been a while since I've been on IG Live. You natty, bro. I have no idea what that means. I don't know if that's London or... How much money you running off this account? Trillions. Absolute trillions. Man said use minoxidil on... You know what's funny? This started happening like 3 months ago. I tried minoxidil like 2 years ago and nothing was happening. I gave up. You natty natural physique. Yeah. I'm not even big, bro. Hey, love your content, appreciate you. I met Pleiadian yesterday. That's crazy. Natty means if you take steroids. Swear down, is that what people are on? Nah, there's none of that. In fact, hold on, let me get something. A stand. Let me use this. Bro, I'm not even that big for... Hold on, let me... I'm literally like not even that big for me to be taking steroids, bro. That's crazy. Man like Tay Trenser, everybody should go defo check out his page. God's avatar, all natural. Of course. What type of blasphemy would that be if I wasn't? Black castor oil works with beard growth. Yeah. I use black castor oil and black seed oil. Nero, what's your view on God? Finally, some serious questions. Alright, cool. So, funnily enough, a lot of people don't think I believe in God for whatever reason. You know, they think I have a Bible, a Quran, a Bhagavad Gita, a Torah, a Talmud. They think I have all of these spiritual books because I don't believe in God, which is absolutely ridiculous. I do believe in God. I just think whenever people say to me, you know, do you believe in God or what's your take on God? I have to be very careful the way I answer that question because the frame of reference from which you view God from isn't the frame of reference from what I view God from. So even if we look at the word God, most people don't even know where that word comes from, what it means, right? They don't really understand the etymological root meanings of words. For example, God, generator, organizer, destroyer. These are all separate characteristics which make up from your body, mind, soul, which I guess construct the way that you perceive reality. But most people don't know that. So if you say God, what comes to people's minds is, maybe Allah or Jehovah or Yahweh. That's what comes to people's minds. So I 100% believe in God. I believe the most accurate depiction of God lies at the cross intersection of all these major religions, which is exactly why I read the Quran, which is why I read the Bible, which is why I read the Bhagavad Gita, the Torah, the Talmud. I don't think there's one that I'm missing. But yeah, that's my view on God. I hope that makes sense. What foods does your diet consist of? Bro, I'm the worst person to ask. I'll be so real. Like, I'm not one of them spiritual guys who will tell you to get on an alkaline thing or none of that. I have all of those books. I think I went vegan for like a month, but I'm Zimbabwean. So if you know Zimbabweans, we like to barbecue a lot and we like meat, pause. So it's just something that I'm used to. But even if we go into the conversation of diet, right, it seems like the whole alkaline vegan thing has become some sort of agenda. And when you look at the foods, especially that these people are eating, they have high concentrations of soy. And you know for men that produces estrogen, which is, making men more feminine. But even if we look at the, I guess, biological or genealogical understanding of how people's bodies break down food, the way that your body breaks down food and my body is going to be completely different because we come from different places of the world. Our ancestors were used to different types of food. So for example, you might say the alkaline diet or eating greens is extremely healthy, but what if I tell you I have an allergy to lectins? Lectins are a chemical component among all of these plants with chlorophyll that will make me feel sick, and it causes some people to bleed internally. So then it's like, how can alkaline be the one diet? You know what I'm saying? You just have to understand your biological makeup. Of course, somebody who is melanated and somebody who's a Caucasian are going to require different things. I guess it's just about trial and testing and see what works for you. So yeah. Everyone has different views. What's your views? Hi. Can't access it. If you can't access the metaphysical money manuals because you're still trying to load it up from the domain of realityhackers.com, The new website is NeroKnowledge.com. If you type that in and you click the 3 bars on the side, you'll see a library, and then it will let you log in. It's NeroKnowledge.com. Let me type that in case some other people, because I know some people email. I actually sent an email out to everybody. People don't want to check their emails, man. There you go. I always say I'm not religious, but I believe in God. I believe in spirituality. Yeah, definitely. Nero the Great, man like Pipsy Hustle. Shout out. At least you should have an email. There you go. Somebody said it. What's the meaning of life for you? Well, the Creator's infinite, so there can be infinite meanings of life. There's no one particular meaning of life. But the one general purpose that we all have being down here is spiritual transmutation. Most of us, they say that the ancients believe that your soul would choose the parents that you're born to, the circumstances you're born into, so it can learn and extract from these particular experiences to contribute to the evolution of its soul. And let's say you're born to a particular bad parents in a bad environment. Your whole purpose is to transmute that aspect of the negativity or the dark portion or the pain or the frustration of your life into light. You understand what I'm saying? So it's about moving to a state of adversity. Can you speak on how to carry out the action of prayer? I actually wrote a newsletter about that, I think 2 weeks ago. It touches on multiple scriptures of the Bible. One of them being, I believe it's Mark 11:24. Whatever you pray for, believe that you have received it and you shall receive it. When we break down into and that's funny because I actually made a YouTube video yesterday, and my next YouTube video is exactly about that, Shaq. So you know what? I'm not going to answer that, and I'll let you see in the YouTube video. My new YouTube video is literally called How to Have Every Prayer Answered Esoterically, and it breaks down the esoteric way of praying. For example, we believe praying is getting down on your knees, pause, and begging to some creator in the sky for something that you may want. But that's not how prayer is, because 84% of the world is religious, which means that a large portion of the world, billions of people, pray every day, and I can guarantee you they're praying for prosperity, success, and abundance. Yet we know that that's only a small percentage of people that are attaining those things. So if everybody thinks they know how to pray, then clearly they don't, because something isn't working. And even in the Bible, the disciples said to Jesus, show us how to pray. And that implies that there is a manner to pray, which people don't particularly do well. So like I said, it will be in my latest YouTube video on Sunday. It's called How to Answer Every Prayer Esoterically. It'll be some title like that. I haven't decided yet. Is God to you a person or a being, something that exists that we can't see? Once again, this comes down to your definition of God. When you say God, depending upon who you are, you might be referring to Yahweh or Allah or Jehovah, the Abrahamic gods. But is that God? No. It depends how far you go back in terms of the ancient civilizations from which these stories were compiled from. And you'll find that they weren't necessarily the creator, right? Which I like to call the infinite intelligence, because, God is the title, but the infinite intelligence is the source from which you derive. So once again, I can't answer these questions without knowing the frame of reference from which you're coming from in terms of God. That's the only way I can answer your question properly. Which are the most 3 important points according to which you live your life? Number 1, to recognize that you are everybody and everybody is you. I may be a black guy who's like 5'8" and currently wearing a do-rag and shades, and you may be whoever you are. But if you strip us apart of our flesh, we're all the same divine spark or essence of God, just encased in different bodies. Imagine if the water that I had here was red on the outside, and I had another one and it was blue on the outside, and I had another one and it was yellow on the outside. Despite the difference, exteriorly, internally, it's still the exact same. And once you begin to operate reality from the mindset that you are everyone and everyone is you, just look at how different you think about people. Think about how different you treat people. You actually might help out, the old lady that's struggling to cross the road. You might help out the homeless person who's on the floor. You might do your best to treat someone in the utmost best way. You might not think bad thoughts about somebody because you recognize that shit. You know, I'm in this physical plane that makes me think I'm separate from these people, but they're me. So when I'm projecting my thoughts off that person's a dickhead, it's really coming back onto me because they are me. You understand what I'm saying? So that's definitely one. And even Christ calls that the golden rule or something like that. So that's number one. Number two, I always step with the fact that reality is an illusion. You know, and I spoke about this in my latest YouTube video. For those of you who haven't already, go subscribe, because I actually made a YouTube video last Sunday. And yeah, I thought it was pretty good, to be honest. But anyways, the physical plane is where we live. It's what we call reality. And that's merely one plane of existence that you are on. And if we, you know, most people look at the world and they say, you know, this is a real world. But once you step with the mind frame that reality is your consciousness, it makes things a lot different. So for example, you might look at your circumstances and be like, damn, we're poor as fuck, like, this is hard, how am I ever gonna do this? But if you step with the frame of reference that this is merely an illusion, it's almost like reality lags in accordance to what you have established in your mind. So if you step with that mentality, then things will be a lot different. You feel me? And the final thing, so seeing everybody as a reflection of yourself and treating everybody from a place of unconditional love, because that's what it means to embody the Christ energy. If you ever see the photo of white Jesus, he's pointing one hand to his heart, which is on fire. That's the heart chakra being unlocked. And then another one to his head, as above, so below, pointing up to his consciousness where it's been sparked. The final one would probably be that, I don't know what the final one would be, actually. That's a good one. What would the final one be? Just do your best to honor your ancestors and God. You know, I don't, you know, I care about what my mother thinks, but I don't seek to honor her. And the reason I say that is because I'm blessed. I have an amazing mother. My mom's literally an angel. So me honoring my mother can only lead to good, because my mom would want the best for me. But I'm saying this to you guys, I don't know what type of parents you guys have or what type of lives you live. But when you step from the frame of mind of saying, I'm only going to honor my ancestors and God, your ancestors are currently living within you. If you look at a study called epigenetics, right, and that looks into the, I guess, the mind's link to your genes, you know, you can have your ancestors' memories from 14 to 15 generations above you still living within you. So your ancestors are quite living within you, and they want to live, right? Which is exactly why they had sex and made you, because that's what that is. That's what sex is. It's a biological desire to continue living. If you can honor your ancestors and God, then you always start with that frame of reference that shit, you know, they can only want the best for me. So that's the final one. You feel me? My bad, I gotta catch up with these. So if you guys message me, drop me a message, then say it again. Damn, there's a lot of questions. I said vegan diets for pussies. That's funny. How to get clients as a freelancer? Well, first decide that you have clients. Hold it in your mind that you have 3 clients for a month, and just see how it goes. Can you manifest 1 billion? I definitely could. But it's all about stepping from the frame of reference from which your subconscious currently is. Because I grew up poor, if I attempt to reach for 1 billion and materialize that, because it's so far out of reach from what my mind can comprehend, it's just going to end up being failure. But currently, with the way that my life's progressing, it's incremental steps. You from London, bro? Nah, I grew up in Wolves. I'm from Wolverhampton, but I live in Birmingham. Do you think Steve Jobs and all of these guys are on no method? Oh yeah, 100%. Especially if you actually read Steve Jobs's, I believe it's, sorry for fidgeting so much, I'm just trying to get this straight. If you actually look at Steve Jobs's autobiography, which I've got here somewhere. Wait, I think someone borrowed it. Anyways, if you look at Steve Jobs' autobiography, one thing that he talks about in there is Zen Buddhism and psychedelics. And if you know what psychedelics have to do, they have to, well, essentially, what you call reality, you're only seeing 0.0035% of what actually exists. And that's because of a process called refraction, which is visible light bounces off surfaces, it hits the retinas of your eyes, which send electrical signals to your brain, which produce an image. That's how you see. But when you take psychedelics, you expand the depth of what you can see in the electromagnetic spectrum, which heightens and, I guess, deepens your eyes to the multitude of dimensions and planes which are actually here. Now, I've never taken psychedelics, so don't ask me, because I'm afraid of that shit. So don't ask me. I haven't taken any psychedelics. Do you believe weather has effect on people's states of being? Yeah, of course. Look at women. Women's bodily cycles revolve around the moon. The name of the game is essentially how much do you believe, I guess. What's your view on life after death? I try not to worry about that, to be honest. And the reason I say that is because if you're worrying about something that you... Well, firstly, that's actually a good question. If you're worrying about what's going to happen to you, life after death, then what that is showing is that you're missing one of the biggest, or getting caught up in one of the biggest illusions of reality. And that's the fact that time and space exist. Time and space don't exist, right? They're illusions. And of course that could go into a whole nother conversation about how time isn't linear and it's circular, which is why whenever you see a clock is circle because time is circular. But we won't get into that today. But to simplify your answer, what do I think is going to happen to me after I die? From my study in terms of what the ancients believed would happen, life after death, you enter the consciousness of the frequency you left Earth with. And to say that simply, the biggest electromagnetic field is produced from the heart. The heart is the most important organ. Your heart is the most spiritual organ you have. That's why if you look at babies, the first thing, the first organ that babies develop is the heart, not the brain, which doesn't make sense. Early scientists couldn't make sense of it because they believe it's you. Because without a brain, your body, you can't do nothing. But babies actually produce hearts first. And then if you actually look at, a lot of these religious scriptures, the ancient Book of the Dead, the Quran, a lot of them reference to having your heart as light as a feather. And the reason for that is because heart produces emotion, which is energy emotion, which is the majority of the frequency that you produce. So if you're leaving the physical plane with a heavy heart, or a heart that is heavier than a feather and is light, you haven't unpacked all the pain, frustration, guilt, anxiety, anger that you have towards people, then you're going to take that with you into that consciousness which goes beyond the physical plane. I don't believe in heaven and hell because they don't make sense. They literally make no sense. And every time I talk to a religious person about this, they end up saying nothing because the more that you poke at the ideas of heaven and hell, it just doesn't make sense. Yeah. When's your next video dropping? Sunday. How can you learn from three scriptures? How can you learn from three scriptures like the Quran says Jesus isn't God and Christianity? Oh, I'm assuming you're meaning how do I learn from three different holy texts such as the Quran and Christianity because they have their contradictory views. When I'm reading these books, I'm not reading them to extrapolate things to compare them against each other. That's not the level of consciousness that I'm coming from. I'm thinking, what can I take from the Quran that I love? What can I take from the Bible that I love? What can I take from the Torah that I love and the Talmud? And what you'll find a lot of the times is that a lot of these books intersect in terms of their beliefs, especially the Abrahamic ones, because it was first the Bible, it was first the Torah, then the Bible, then the Quran. They're all like siblings. There's even stories, depending upon how far you go into your research, that, Ishmael and, those guys went and branched off to Islam. There's whole, debates and conspiracies about this. But my point is, when I come to these religions, kind of like this bowl, right? This bowl is not empty. When I come to read the Quran, the Bible, the Torah, the Talmud, I'm an empty bowl. I'm not stepping from the frame of mind of the Bible said this, so I'm going to seek to challenge what's in this book. I'm stepping from the frame of reference of this is a book of wisdom. Let me see what stands out to me here. And then I read them and then intersect them. Nothing more, nothing less. I knew I was God when I heard myself in prayer, which is funny because I always say to people, when you're praying, when you're in your room and you're praying, you're talking out loud. You're the only person in the room. You know what I'm saying? That's funny. With full respect and gratitude for you sharing your knowledge with us, please consider hiring a web designer to make it visually appealing as well. Definitely. My latest YouTube video. In fact, let me show you a bit of it right here. My latest YouTube video has crazy editing. Like it's not no rinky dink fugazi thing. Trust me. I would kill myself if I ever posted something like that. I'm joking. I wouldn't kill myself. Let me see. It's a whole bunch of like B-roll clips and shit like that. It's quite serious though. It's quite serious. I definitely recommend checking it out. If you just type in NeroKnowledge, it will come up. You know, I go into the physical plane, the mental plane, the spiritual plane, and I break them down for you and show you how you can actually use them, because most people will never know how to use these planes. Other than that, not much to criticize. Thanks, bro. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate that. A Christian is correct and so is a Muslim. Precisely. Hello, big fan. Appreciate that. Currently working through the reality control program. Best purchase I have made in a long time. The value for money is crazy. I'll screenshot that. Appreciate that, bro. And I appreciate it too, because you dropped me a message on Snap. I remember. I appreciate that. 9 Ether, goddess. Man like Trap Lord Dizzy. What are you saying? No, I never tried psychedelics. Never. Is the earth flat? Doesn't even matter. It literally doesn't even matter. If I told you today that the earth was flat, that would actually contribute nothing to the evolution of your mind, body, spirit, or soul. Literally nothing. Your reality wouldn't change. Nothing would change. Which is exactly why I don't focus on that type of information. You know, I looked into all of that. They believe that it's actually some type of oval shape. But that information contributes nothing towards vanity. It just makes you say, you stupid nigga, the earth's flat. Like that. But at that point, all learning about the earth being flat does is put you in a position to argue with somebody who's not even in a frequency to even comprehend what you're saying, because you're not even vibrating at the same rate. It's a waste of time. I don't focus on that type of stuff. I only focus on the stuff that I can actually use. Do you believe that Jesus is the God that created the heavens and earth? No, I don't. Started reading the secret teachings of all ages. Wow, nice. Nero is legit though. Appreciate that. I don't know what you lot are debating over there, but but I appreciate that anyways. Nigga, I want you. I don't know about that one. You can't have me, Star. Nah, sorry, man. Do you believe in a creator? Of course I do. Do you believe the sun and rays are upgrading our DNA? Well, that depends on who you are. That YouTube video stimulating as fuck, bare flushes and different images appearing. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. 3 planes will turn into 4 on the arrival of the metaverse. Well said. Well said. Appreciate that, Eunice. I'm gonna defo check you out. I'm gonna defo check you out. Jesus, so many messages. My heart's agreed. My heart's been open, needs to be aligned a bit. Books that influenced you book that influenced you the most. There's no single book that influenced me the most, but I'll give you one that you've definitely never heard of. Science of Being. A lot of people didn't even know that this book existed. The author of this book, I hope you screenshot that. The author of this book, you know, was studied by Nikola Tesla, 32nd degree Mason, Charles Hannell, who wrote the Master Key System, 33 degree Mason that wrote the Kabbalion, William Walker Atkinson, also studied by Gandhi. This individual right here, Eugene Fersen, he was on some crazy stuff. Like, he was breaking all types of stuff down about how to align yourself with the flow of God and stuff like that. So yeah, that's that book. How do you create scenes on meeting the kind of friendships you want? That's a very good question, actually. I'm just trying to think how I'd go about it. Probably conjure up a scene where a sibling or a friend or a parent is saying, "Right, you got bare friends," or something along those lines. Psychedelics are chill if you're chill. I hear that one, but I don't know, man. I've read too much stuff, especially if you get this book. Especially if you get this book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages. You'll read about mad entities that exist that I am not trying to see. I'm definitely not trying to see none of those. Thank you for learning me shit. It's all good. Appreciate that. Started working through Science of the Being. Thanks for putting me on a while back. Appreciate you. Our entire body is made out of atoms. Atoms have a frequency. We have 4 bodies that exist on 4 different planes of existence. The spiritual that connects them, all which is illuminated. What's the software did you use for your YouTube? I don't know. My editor done it. I literally done nothing except write it and record audio. Do you see entities while attaining all this? Nah, bruh. I kid you not. If I saw some shit in my house, I'm out. I'm gone. I don't do all of that. I'm not into all of that. Maybe it's the black in me, pause, but I don't know. Having 0 friends means you're on Earth for something way bigger, or your mind can process. I hear you. Why is it important to preserve sexual energy? I mean, what does sex stand for? SEX. Sacred energetic exchange. That's what sex stands for. Let me type that so you can see it. There you go. So the reason, wait, I just typed it. Should load in. Nero, without a doubt, do what you feel comfortable with, but also don't be controlled by fear. I've seen many spirits and many entities. I would learn say to protect yourself. See, I like that. And I hear all of that, man. I really do, but I don't know. I don't know, man. How do you unlock your chakras? It's a very, very interesting question. Well, first you'd have to actually specify on what chakra that you're actually talking about. You have different ones. For example, the way that you unlock your throat chakra is different from your heart chakra, which is different from your solar plexus, which is different from your sacral, which is different from your root. So you have to be quite specific on which one you're talking about. But to give you an example of unlocking your heart chakra, most of the times when traumatic things happen to people, you get hurt, somebody betrays your trust, somebody lets you down, somebody angers you, somebody does something, anything that's traumatizing, that stimulates emotion, energy emotion, gets stored in the heart chakra. And oftentimes a lot of people are carrying so much pain that they haven't actually sat down and analyzed what actually happened to actually go through it. Because at that moment that you unlock your heart chakra, the energy will be able to flow up to your, I believe it's your third eye chakra, and then your crown chakra, which is at the top of your head, because it's all a flowing system. Imagine if pipes got blocked. If a pipe got blocked, then I guess water wouldn't be able to flow through. So in order for you to allow it to flow, you'd have to unblock what's going on. For example, some people that are like, I'm just a quiet person. They weren't always quiet people. There were people that spoke, but no one heard. So then they internalized it as being quiet. And then at that point, their throat chakra is closed up and they can no longer speak the truth. Or they felt like there's been times in their life where they voiced the truth or what they believe. They got shut down. You feel me? But when it comes to stuff like the root chakra is all to do with your survival. And let me show you guys something right now. And I might make a YouTube video about this. Actually. Fast food. Pay very close attention to what I'm about to show you. Because if you can understand what I'm about to show you, then the way that you look at things will be completely different. Alright, so check this. Yeah. Cool, these are the major ones actually. Let's start with Burger King. Don't worry, I'm not about to show you no burgers. I ain't got a problem with that. I eat meat, pause. Alright, check this. Man, like, fuck you. What you saying, bro? Bro, really appreciate your existence. I felt alienated at first when I got into spirituality and metaphysics because it seemed like corny, egotistical, quotes, white people. Invested their time in it. Yo, you're funny. No comment on the white people part, but what I will say is a lot of the niggas that get into spirituality become weird. Like, I remember I loved spirituality. I loved understanding about reality and what really happens in the world and all of this. But every time I saw someone, they were so weird. Like, they'd either be chilling with 10 million crystals, they'd either be a vegan, no beef with vegans, they'd either have dreadlocks, no beef with people with dreadlocks, they'd have ankhs, they would say grand rising, they'd wear these funny clothes and these baggy pants, and I'm like, yo, I like Jordans and shit. Like, none of this makes sense to me. Like, it's funny because I think part of me growing up in the ghetto while being immersed in spirituality meant that I still very much remained the same type of guy without having a whole personality change. Because when people get into spirituality, they have these whole personality change where they're speaking different and they're saying this and they're talking like this and they're wearing this. It's just all beaky for me. Like, I'm here to show you guys that you can be spiritual and you can create your reality without having to become some corny guy who just looks bare weird. But anyways, back to what I was saying. So these are your chakras. Man said grand rising, baby. You're funny. These are your chakras. Let me pull up one that's a bit. Let me pull up an image that's a bit big. Perfect. Cool. So these are your chakras. You can see at the bottom, like I said, it's your root chakra, sacral, solar plexus. So these colors, right? Your root chakra is basic trust. That's your lower self. So the energy, most people, sexual energy starts here. This is where the Kundalini sexual energy rises from, which is why take music, for example. A lot of rap songs use 808 beats, and Kanye spoke about how 808 beats trap energy in your root chakra. Now, if your energy is being trapped here, that means you can never get knowledge to your third eye. Yo, bro, I don't know who you are saying, nigga, I want you, but if you say that one more time, I'm gonna have to block you because no suspect stuff is happening over here. This is not the place for that. Back to business. So that's where your base energy comes from. This is your lower self or primal self, sexual self. Its only desires are to eat, fuck, sleep. That's your only desires. That's the desires of the root chakra. Now, the colors of these chakras: root, sacral, solar plexus. Now, if you look at most fast food places, colors are coded in the alignment of appealing to all the lower chakras. And you're going to say, "Rah, that don't make no sense. Like, that's crazy." When you see these companies, right, these billion-dollar corporations, if you think you know this shit, imagine how they're using it on you. You don't even know. So check Burger King. It's colors, right? Majority of the colors are all what? To do with either the solar plexus, sacral chakra, root chakra. Remember, these chakras determine your lower self. Sex, fucking, eating. That's it. And killing. If energy cannot move past up your solar plexus and flow at least up to your third eye, you're never ever going to be able to perceive high levels of wisdom. So like I said, most of these corporations color code their stuff. That's Burger King, right? Let's check Mackey's right now. Colors of Mackey's, right? Once again. You see? Exactly. Someone said they're using it against us. These organizations are evil because they know about this shit and they use it. I mean, morality is a whole different conversation. We ain't here for that. But you see my point anyways. And if I just type in biggest fast food places, fast food chains. That's so crazy, not even a coincidence. Yes, definitely, none of this stuff is a coincidence. That's what I'm saying. If you think, listen, let me tell you something. If you think some nigga on Instagram with 70 people watching him is telling you this stuff about how the esoteric is used to manipulate you guys, then how the hell do you think, come on, man, that's exactly what these people are doing. And it's because they understand this. It's so deep, right? Check this. Next one. What's the other one called? KFC. You see what I'm saying? And you can extrapolate this. You can extrapolate this to other billion-dollar corporations. They're literally color-coded in reference of what aspect of your ego they're attacking. Like, I like it because to me, I'm like, yo, whoever's behind this is smart as hell, right? They're smart as hell. But everybody else is like, oh, man, you know, oh, this is terrible. What's the other one called? They're in America. They even got some in the UK. You see what I'm saying? Now, don't get me wrong. You know, don't get me wrong, I'm a regular nigga. I like KFC just as much as everybody else. But what I'm trying to tell you is, once you come to the realization of what I was just speaking about in regards to how energy flows throughout your chakras, most people think chakras are silly because they see some silly nigga talking about chakras in a fucking dashiki. And it looks silly. But there's nothing silly about this stuff. There's nothing silly about this stuff at all. These are actual energy points throughout your body. If somebody gets hit in there, if you go watch UFC fights and see someone get hit in their solar plexus, you see them spaz out for a bit. And it's because that energy center has been absolutely distributed, because it's near enough the central point of how energy moves. So like I said, right? All of these corporations color code themselves depending upon what aspect or what chakra they're attaining to. If your root chakra is your survival instincts that keep more than eating, fucking, and talking, then boom. Remember, KFC, McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King. I've already shown you them. I used colors as well. What's wrong with it? Nothing at all. Nothing at all. And there's nothing wrong with these companies using these colors. There's nothing wrong with this at all. I'm simply pointing out the fact that these billion-dollar corporations are playing a different game. And you know what I'm saying? I can't imagine that you're a billion-dollar corporation. You feel me? And it's funny. It's actually so funny. Because even if I was to tell you guys about some of the people that have hit me up, or some of the people that DM me, these are people that run mad organizations, millions, right? Because they're like, right, you know about this. And they never expect it, right? Because who the hell expects some black kid in a do-rag and a wife beater to be talking about this type of stuff? You understand what I'm saying? But hey, that's the beauty of it. But nonetheless, I'm hopping off now. It was good. It's been a while. I'm about to go cook. So yeah. I'll catch you lot later. For those of you who haven't already, go watch my YouTube video or I'll actually die. Now, thank all of you lot. Still, I'm definitely gonna jump on this more often. It's just that I get so busy with writing content and planning stuff and doing all of this that I end up just literally not doing it. But I'm gonna hop on this a lot more often. So yeah. I'm gonna catch you lot later. As always, the glasses that came off.